Hi and welcome back, and we're talking with Martin Hunter-Jones and Lyndall Briggs on counselling and emotional wellbeing. And Martin is the president and founder of the New South Wales Counselling Association, and Lyndall is the vice president of the New South Wales Counselling Association. So of course my question is, how did you two meet?
Well, I think I was thrust upon him more than anything, really.
Do you want to elaborate on that one?
Well, as I said to you before, I'd gone to the ACA, the Australian Counselling Association, and wanted to affiliate with them, and they suggested that I go to the New South Wales Counselling Association and go on their board, and that's just the way the political things worked. And once I got there, I just loved it. I loved the people, and was more than happy to stay there.
Okay, so what is it about the people you loved?
I love their humour and that we have fun, and that's that is the main thing. That it's an enjoyable place to be as a volunteer.
NSWCA, there's a lot of passionate and intelligent people there who want to model live good living. You know, we enjoy each other's company, but we get stuff done, very inclusive, and getting other people involved.
So it's walking the talk?
Yes.
Yeah,
definitely.
So what you do for your clients, you do for each other.
This is the aim.
Yeah. So you actually would debrief with each other in a clinical process, or what?
There is some peer supervision that we do, and that's pretty spontaneous. I mean, yes, we do most definitely do that, but we also have obligations to proceed with more formal supervision. You need to get supervision to continue to counsel well.
Okay. And for you, in adding to that?
Well, I enjoy, as I said, the being with the people and achieving things. Like with Martin's leadership, we seem to be, you know, achieving a lot more for the association. We're now, I think, equal to any in New South Wales.
We're doing all right, that's for sure. One of the things that's great about NSWCA was its ethos from the outset was we want to provide services. We don't want to just authorise counsellors and, you know, tick their boxes, yes, you've done that training. We want to actually be a real help to them, create networks and communities of professional people. Okay,
so are there many counselling associations in New South Wales like this one?
Not as good as this one.
We can say there's none like this one. There is a number of other counselling organisations who authorise counsellors. Most of them are under particular theoretical banners. So, you know, your Gestalt Counselling Association. In addition to that, there's PAC for Organisation and Kappa. That's one part of the way counsellors can be authorised as professionals. We provide, in our profession, NSWCA essentially provides an alternative to that. And part of that alternative is a very deliberate intent to provide services.
Yeah, and we have more we have chapters as well as just one central part. So you've got your Dubbo, Hunter Valley,
Western Sydney. Okay. See, what people were finding is, okay, you take Dubbo for instance, there's a whole lot of counselling need out there. There's a bunch of counsellors out there too, but they live 200 kilometres from each other, and some of them were coming all the way to Sydney to get supervision. Wow. That's a 10-hour drive. Yeah. So it's pretty important, and I'm actually very proud of us that we've gone and started services in the country. And I might also point out, for no money, we're not government funded at all.
Okay. So getting to emotional well-being. Now you've been in the counselling area for 20 odd years, and for you, Martin, around 16 years. Yeah. Have you seen more of an acceptance over the last couple of decades of people being willing to acknowledge they've got some emotional trauma?
Absolutely. Yeah, and I'd say also in a preventative sense, that people now are being aware that they've got behaviours or problems starting to manifest in other ways, like that it's starting to affect them. Perhaps they've got relationship issues and that they know that it's influencing their work. So they say, okay, let's stop this now, and they don't just sweep it under the carpet.
I think there's enough people getting a good result to be feeding a community information that a good result is available, in addition to which it's a very cost-effective way of proceeding. Yeah. It's cheaper than medicating people, and it's sure cheaper than getting divorced or becoming mentally ill or losing your job as a result.
Okay. One of the things that I find interesting is obviously societal beliefs. I mean, I think there's still a stigma out there in society around emotional trauma and therefore going to counselling. And there's a lot of misunderstanding out there around emotional health. When people aren't seeking assistance for emotional trauma, do you believe that then can move into a mental health issue?
Well, absolutely, it's demonstrably so.
Could you just elaborate on that, Martin?
So, well, you can imagine mental health as a continuum, a gravelly slope that heads from very high mental health to very low mental health, and then there's a drop-off, psychosis, no mental health. I think we're pretty much all on a continuum there, and the effort that we need to make, or I encourage people to make, is to put some work into sliding up the slope a little bit so you have a happier time. Happiness, it comes from mental health. It doesn't come from having a Porsche or a Mercedes or a new house.
Okay, what would you add to that?
I look now, because I deal a lot with people with habits that they want to change. They stop smoking and things like that. And I'm finding it very amazing that you might deal with like a mum, and then next comes the son, and then the friend of the son, and you get groups of people. And I also do some like cross-cultural work, and you find you'll get a group, and I'll think, I've never seen so many Irani people that just come, or something like that, you know, but they do talk, and they suddenly like they are expressing that, gee, this was not bad, it wasn't scary, it was lovely. I've walked in with feelings that I've been carrying around for a long time, and I've walked out feeling lighter. And that's the response I get, and a lot is it's not, as I said, it's not a miracle, it's not magic, but it's a feeling of lightness that perhaps people get.
And it can be miraculous too, I might point out. Look, I think the other thing that goes on here is it used to be, well, it still is the case that mental health is, if you're mad, you've got to go over there, go away, you're like a leper. But now people are noticing that really functional people have mental health issues. Premiers of states, you know, marvellous football heroes. That sort of information provides it gives permission for people to proceed towards healing themselves.
Yeah, I guess I have a bit of a drum to beat, because I've worked a bit in mental health as an employment consultant. And one of the things that I find fascinating there in assisting people to go out to get employment, if they have to disclose about their mental health issue, is the stigma from an employer.
You'd much prefer to have a massive physical disability than to talk about that stuff. People just don't know how to deal with it.
Yeah. And one of the things I find fascinating is if any of us so-called healthy human beings have anxiety or depression, albeit on a smaller level, you know, in opposition to a diagnosed, medicated mental health issue, we tend to call it stress. And I wonder, as we're just about to go into a break, how we can destigmatise these emotional mental health issues in our society so people are willing to embrace people who do have a diagnosed health problem.
I think our industry, our profession is precisely at the forefront of that, because we give people the right to speak about their deepest, darkest, most embarrassing things. You can become normal with it and easy with it, and then you can start to communicate to other people. What I find is an honest story is a fascinating story, even if it's a terrible story. The more people are able to communicate with each other about the things that have happened to them, the less it hurts, the less isolating it is.
Yeah, okay. Anything you'd add before we go to a break?
Only that I think some people see their problems and not their solutions. And I often find just by giving them a few tools, simple, easy, drink more water, breathe more, exercise, write your problems down and write solutions, try brainstorming. And suddenly we start looking at solutions. And within a short term, the problem sort of drifted away. Now, I'm not saying it works every time, but on the area that you're saying with people with not major problems, you can often work that way, just of, you know, a 50% improvement in one session. And I'm saying that can happen easily.
I think here's a nice metaphor. People go to hospital and get themselves operated on when there's a big disaster. But it's much smarter to go to the doctor regularly to stay healthy, and counselling can be used in that context. A regular checkup to keep the peak moments manageable, and then you don't get great disaster.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll take a break and we'll come back and talk more about maintaining emotional well-being.